episode of the SHANON Show. Hope you guys all had a great week and are about to have a great weekend. This is episode number 10. Can't believe I've been doing this for 10 weeks. I have a great guest on the line, Daniel Posthumus. It's going to be a great episode, and now welcome to the show, the man himself, Danny Posse.
Danny Posse. Hello, I'm glad to be with you, Shannon. I'm in good company with the Shannon Show guests because I know Carolina and Michaela. So
yes, two of our fellow, our mutual friends, I guess you could say, from our JSHS days. We'll get into all of that. First of all, I want to do a little bit of background on you. I do this with all my guests, just about their life as a military kid. So please tell everyone where you've lived just over the years.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky. I haven't had to move much. So I was born in Virginia, and then I lived there for like the first 3 years of my life. And then I moved to Germany, where I lived for just under 2 years. And then I moved to Zama, Japan, which is just west of Tokyo. And I lived there for 5 years. And I moved to Minnesota, where I lived for about 1.5 years.
You moved a lot.
And then I moved back to Yokosuka, and I've been here for now 7 years. So
that's good. At least you've been, I guess, through the more important years for longer. If you can call it that. You spent some time in Zama. That's kind of like the laughing stock of Dodea. I'm very sorry about that.
You know,
I just called you out. Like you might consider that to be your home, and I just called you out right there. I'm so sorry. So, which branch is your family, I don't know, mom, dad a part of? What are you?
Yeah, so both my parents are actually civilians. So my mom is a Dodea teacher. She's a first grade teacher.
Gotcha.
And then my dad works with the Command Navy Region Japan, but he's a civilian. So.
Well, what grade levels do your mom teach?
She used to teach 5th grade at Zama, but now she teaches 1st grade, so the really little kids.
Did you have her as a teacher ever?
No, I didn't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know. There's some kids who have that, and they're traumatized forever. Like the rest of their lives, they're just done. I mean, you have your parent as a teacher. I could not imagine having to go through that.
Yeah, my mom is a teacher in like all aspects of life, so I think I already have an idea. Like even now, she still tries to teach me.
She's always constantly teaching.
I use the same strategies for 1st graders.
Oh, really? That's good. You must be well disciplined, I guess. So where did you, of all those places, what did you like the most? Which place?
Definitely Yokosuka, Japan. I think it's the biggest base. So I guess other than like Kadena or Kubasaki. It was like the most vibrant community. It had the most, just most people to hang out with, most things to do. It was closer to Yokohama or Tokyo than any of the other ones. So I definitely say Yokosuka, Japan.
Yeah, how far is it from Tokyo?
It's only an hour from Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
Really close, yeah.
Yeah, so do you guys go there often? Because, like, I have no idea. So I lived in Okinawa, which is, like, nothing like the rest of the Dodea bases in the Pacific. Like, you guys probably see it like we're living on a resort. I know a lot of you guys have it a lot more difficult, I guess you'd say, a lot less people, smaller bases.
Yeah.
So what is that lifestyle like being so close to Tokyo?
It's really nice. Obviously I haven't been to Tokyo since like January, so it's been locked up for us. Yeah. But I mean, it's really nice. So they have the new Sano, which is like that American hotel in Tokyo. So they have like a really good restaurant there you can go and eat. And then, there's big concerts in Tokyo. I've gone to a couple there. So I don't know. I used to try to go once a month to Tokyo at least. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I went on a baseball trip there to Kubasaki, and I just could not believe the scale of that city. Like, it just goes on forever. Like, there's just, like, skyscrapers forever. I was like, we were leaving Tokyo, and it's, like, hours.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It is. It's definitely incredible. I'd have to agree with that. So which place do you think, I guess you said Yokosuka is your favorite. Is that where you consider home to be?
Yeah, that's what I would say my home is. Definitely, when people ask me where I'm from, it's Yokosuka, Japan.
Yeah, what are the reactions to that? I mean, I'm not sure how often. Because I talked about this with Michaela. You said you watched, but it's definitely you get mixed reactions if you tell anyone about that.
So either I'm like, oh, I'm from Yokosuka, Japan, and then people are like, oh, cool, and then they move on immediately. So it's either that or they're really interested, and then they ask me a lot of questions. But a lot of times, the first question, as Michaela said, is always, oh, so you speak Japanese then?
Right.
And, I I took 4 years of Japanese, so I'm not a scrub, I guess. But I'm also not. I don't want to brag about it because then someone might happen to be fluent, and then they'll just start speaking Japanese to me, and I'll have no idea what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, I took it for 3 years, and it was not like I feel like I know nothing.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's good that I think it's always good whenever you live somewhere to try and learn the language, though, even if you suck at it. That's just my mentality on it. So next, I want to talk about a little bit about the high school you went to in Yokosuka, Kinnick. First impression I had of Kinnick was at Far East Tennis. You guys show up in red top to bottom. I'm like, who are these guys? Like, who do they think they are?
Yeah, our uniforms are so terrible.
Oh, you're not a fan either? We were all green. Like, it's solid colors, whatever.
Yeah.
So what's Kinnick like, going to Kinnick? How big is the school? Like, what's it like going there?
Yeah, so Kinnick is like 600 people. So it's pretty big for a high school in Dodea. I think it's the second biggest behind Kadena.
Probably Kadena, yeah.
I might be wrong, yeah. But the school building's really old. So it was built in like the 70s or the 80s, and they haven't renovated it at all. So there's there's burn marks on the bathroom stall, which is pretty interesting. Yeah. There's weird stains in the carpets in the classroom. So it's an interesting place. But our one fun fact is that Mark Hamill went to Kinnick.
No way.
So, yeah, we always brag about that. So just a couple of years ago, we had our 70th anniversary, and Mark Hamill recorded a video of him talking, and he sent it to the school. So that was pretty cool.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So technically, when he went, it was Yokohama High School, but it was still Kinnick. So it just moved to Yokosuka.
Yeah, I call it the same. That is sick. I need to have him on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark Hamill, that'll be it.
Yeah, how would you feel next week Mark Hamill comes on? Make sure you check out last week's episode with Danny Posse, though. Everyone. Yeah, I wish. Let's give it to tennis. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
Right into it, because I'm going to start at the beginning. I don't remember exactly if I ever met you or introduced myself, or I don't remember a formal introduction between the two of us, but I definitely remember you at the Far East Tennis events, maybe not freshman year, but definitely sophomore year. Always had a lot of respect for your game, for sure. I mean, just seeing what Dave Ornauer writes in Stars and Stripes, I mean, that's enough. We never got to play, though.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I think that would have been a great match, one for the ages, an instant classic. But it turns out you went on to play much bigger matches because you made a run to the Far East Championship match, which I always thought was impossible for a Dodea kid, and you did it. Please walk me through it, please. I want to hear how you managed to do this because I worked so hard to get to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, so every year I improved a little. So the first year I lost in the second round. And then the second year, I lost in the second round, but to Noah Inohara. So, what are you going to do?
We'll talk about him after. Please continue.
And then the third year, I made the quarterfinals, but then I lost to the eventual champion. I forgot his name, but he was the CAJ #1 player. I
remember that, I think.
Yeah. And then, so that was disappointing. But then that year, I really attacked it. So then I went to the club sometimes. I wanted to play against higher level players, get used to that level of competition. And the next year, then I had an up and down year. I lost twice to Takumi. But then I also beat ASIJ #2 or 3 singles. So I came in, with pretty confident. I thought I would do well. I won my first 2 matches pretty easily. And then going into the quarterfinal, I had to play the Yiska, Yongsan International. And he was like 6'2", probably 200 pounds with the pro staff. And he's just wailing the ball. It's during warm-ups, and I can't even get a clean contact on it. And I'm just, sticking it out and trying to get it back. And I'm like, how am I going to win this match? This guy's hitting everything like 100 miles. Yes, it hurt my wrist, and it hurt my hand. So the first game he's up 40 love. He served 2 aces, and he's had 2 winners. And I'm like, what am I going to do against this guy? So then he misses. And then I do a big come on because I want to get in his head.
Right.
And the rest of the match, he just sucks. He's terrible the rest of the match. he misses almost everything. And I just say, okay, I'm just going to hit the ball back and he's going to miss. And he did. So I ended up winning like 8-1. I don't know how, because I watched his next match and then he was back to whaling it and he won easy. So
I need some luck on this run. People don't know, this bracket is huge. Like they just throw all the kids, Dodea and the public, I guess it's the international schools, all in one big bracket. It's basically like throwing a bunch of sheep to the wolves in terms of Dodea kids to these other kids who've been training their entire lives for this, and we just get slaughtered most of the time. But so after the quarterfinals, take me to the semifinals.
So I got really lucky again. So ASIJ didn't come this year. So if ASIJ had come, it would have been a whole different story. And, you know, CAJ also lost its top players. It's like top 4 players were all expelled from the school. so they went from being like D2 champions to being like not good. So I got lucky there. And then next I actually had to play Edgren 1 because he beat St. Mary's 1 in the other quarterfinal. I know. I was playing my match against Yis and they were on the court next to me. So I came off and then I was like, oh, so I'm playing St. Mary's next. And Hindi, my coach, was like, no, the Edgren guy is going to win. So that was kind of crazy.
I lost to the St. Mary's 1 in my quarterfinal.
Yeah.
I hate this. Please continue. I don't even know how this. Okay, so this run is.
So, you know, the Edgren guy I've beaten twice. Like both were like 8-2. So I was pretty confident. I was like, okay, I'm going to make the finals of Far East. And all of a sudden he wins the first set. And, you know, he's playing like a madman. And I'm like, what? So I switched rackets to my lucky racket, which was like a 5-year-old pure strike with a 4.5 grip. So, and then I somehow made it happen. I won the next 2 sets and I came back. And then, of course, in the final, I had to play St. Mary's 2, who had beaten everybody pretty easily. And I was up 4-1 or 3-1, I think. But I ended up choking, and I lost like 4-6, 4-6 in the final. So
it's still great that you got there.
Thank you.
It's very impressive. Some of the guys you mentioned, by the way, I'm not sure if any of them are fans of the show. Probably not. But Takumi is a great player. I remember playing him on a trip to Yokota, the Yokota trip, I believe. I played him. He's a very good player. Who did he lose to? I'm guessing the St. Mary's guy.
Yeah, he had to play the St. Mary's 2 guy in the first round, and he lost 8.
That is terrible.
Yeah, if you could believe it. So St. Mary's 2 was unseeded.
Right. Who made this draw? Who did this?
I know. And then
Adrian got catches fire.
Yeah, they seeded both of the Kadena singles players were like 6 and 8, so I don't know.
RJ? RJ is not one of the players I would say is top tier. I can't be mean. Oh my gosh, people watch this shit. Yes, RJ. He's a good guy. And number 2, whatever. I don't have anything to say about Kadena other than I hate all of them. You know, it's tough playing Kadena every single week. You guys play them all.
I can imagine. They're last year they had the Twin Towers play doubles.
Yes. Yes, and that's what you want to call them. Who did you guys play the most on your schedule? Who did you find yourself playing?
So we had a pretty diverse schedule. Like we went to Iwakuni once, Misawa once, and then we played ASIJ twice, which I think might have been the most. And everybody else played only once. Maybe we played Sama twice.
Yeah, so. I think playing ASIJ is definitely a good thing. That's the best prep you can get for those. Yeah. And we never got any of that. And then, of course, tennis for down at Okinawa. We don't go on any trips. They don't give it. That all goes to football for some reason. Who goes 0-8 every year. Whatever. It is what it is. That's, I think, anything else about tennis. Which year overall was your team the strongest, do you think?
Oh, last year we were 3 points away from winning the banner.
Oh, wow.
In overall D1 competition.
Do you remember when we won the banner for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, do you remember that? That was, oh my God. What was going through your mind? That was the best 15 minutes of my life, Danny.
Yeah.
That was the best thing. I thought I had pulled it off. I thought that this team came together and overcame the impossible and beat Yes in the championship. Not the championship, before the banner. What were your thoughts on that, hearing that? And hearing it reversed?
Yeah, I remember I was surprised. You know, anytime Yis loses, I was happy. I'm even happier now because they beat us. So I was surprised. I thought you guys were winning. I was pulling for you guys. You know, I think there's a common like brotherhood of the
It
Judea school.
definitely is.
Yeah,
There is.
they're always rooting for each other against the private schools. So, and I guess it was like must have been foreshadowing because we knew we were going to lose, but then we also almost barely lost to Yes.
Yeah.
So they've gotten lucky too many times.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. That's enough. They need to take Yes out of the tournament too. I mean, they got to give us a chance. I thought it was about the Dodea Pacific for
Yeah,
Infinity, but it's just Pacific.
yeah. They practice on clay courts. They have clay courts at their school.
Oh, of course they do. Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. Have you seen? Oh, whatever. I have nothing else to say. I gave everything I had, and it sounds like you did too. And you made a run to the championship.
Yeah.
Super proud as a fellow Dodea tennis member. Let's go
Thank
to something else. Let's talk a little bit more about you being a military kid actually first.
Yeah.
Moving around, you know what I'm saying. What is some of the traits do you think that you and a lot of your peers as military children possess that are particularly noticeable and advantageous?
So I think the biggest one is just being able to make friends. So I've noticed that, you know, like when we go on trips or something, like the people who have had to move around are like much better at socializing and, you know, building like relationships just, you know, really quick. Versus the people who've lived here in Yokosuka the whole time sometimes struggle with that a bit more because they haven't had to. But even they have had to because their friends have moved.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is just being able to and to adapt, um, and yeah, just to adapt and make friends. I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, all the time we'd send kids up to the mainland, and they'd come back and they're like, "You have a best friend from Kinnick now." I'm like, "What? You were there for a week? You guys are best friends?"
Yeah,
They actually are like best friends. It's
yeah,
unbelievable how quickly like military kids can come together and form a relationship. It's noticeable. It's something that stands out.
yeah.
What's do you have any advice for someone who might be going through like moving to a new place for the first time, or just something uh, for them to hear?
I would say to get
Something.
involved. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say to get involved. Like I met my best friends through tennis, but then I also met my other best friends through the other clubs I was in, like mock trial or student council. So I would say get involved. That'll just get you interacting with so many different people that you'll have your pick of the lot with who you want to be friends with,
Yeah.
and it won't be, oh, who do I sit with for lunch on the first day, and that'll be my friends. So I think it's always important just to expand your horizons and meet more people.
Yeah, you have to cast a big net, guys. Just get out there.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna miss a lot, but when you hit on one, you're gonna be really happy that you did. And that goes for transitioning to college as well. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, I know you're still in Tokyo right now. So what
Yeah.
are your plans for the future as of right now?
Yeah, so I'm going to College of William and Mary, so
Yeah,
Carolina and I are at the same school.
yeah,
Um, but I think she's actually there and I'm stuck
he is on
here.
campus.
So
She's a year above us as well.
yeah. So I'm doing all online classes through the College of William and Mary. So, hopefully I'll get to go on campus in the spring.
Yeah.
If not, then I'll just go to campus in the fall and I'll keep doing online. So pretty much everything's online too, like all the clubs and organizations are online as well.
Is that tough? Like I'm assuming a lot of the due dates and tests are
Yeah.
not um in line with your time zone. What's that like?
Yeah, last night I actually took an exam from 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. So it's pretty interesting. Most of my classes are from 9 p.m. to midnight. So that's not bad. But sometimes it's a pain to wake up in the middle of the night for exams.
Yeah, that's terrible. If you're a professor, be more accommodating. Jeez, we have guys like Danny Plosky out here trying to make a difference in the world, and all you're doing is holding them back. Unbelievable. So please tell everyone, what are you majoring in? Or you plan major?
So I want to major in public policy, and then I'm thinking about getting a minor in Hispanic studies. And then eventually I want to go to law school after that. And then after that, I want to join likely the Navy as a JAG, as a military lawyer. So
Oh wow. So what inspired you to do that? Why do you think that's important?
yeah, so I was in mock trial, which was relatively new here, and two JAGs had taken on mock trial. So we got to go and watch one of the dishonorable discharge hearings here at the courtroom, which is actually just across the street from my house. And that was really cool, seeing that, and then seeing, especially the prosecutor, because it was a very, very ugly crime that the guy did. So seeing him bring him to justice, I think was really inspiring.
Yeah, so the JAGs are those who represent the people who might be getting dishonorably discharged, or they represent military service members?
Yeah, so they're both. So they prosecute and they represent the defendant.
Yeah. So that's great. I know you got into, not necessarily entirely in that, but another way I got to know you was through the JSHS program, which I snuck my way into. I covered this in my episode with Carolina. I did my project in a week. Your project, on the other hand, was much more thought out and thorough. Please take me through that. As I remember, I remember correctly, it was all about the trade war on China.
Yeah.
This was your junior year project. I should probably specify that. So talk me through a little bit about what that project was on, what were your findings, and how far did you go in the competition?
Yeah, so my project, it was related to the trade war with China. So I was looking at the relationship between tariffs and inflation. So the basic idea is if you want to bring geese into the United States, then you're going to have to pay a 20% tax. So my hypothesis was that 20% tax would make geese more expensive in the United States. But if you got rid of that 20% tax, then geese wouldn't be so expensive. So I didn't really look at geese. I looked at 5 sectors of the economy. I looked at medicine, steel, and something about shellfish, and then I forgot the other ones. So I was looking at, just the tariff. So what percentage of the steel coming into the United States was taxed? And then I was looking at the relationship between that and then the price of steel and the fluctuations in the price. And my main finding was basically there was no correlation. There was no relationship.
It's always the best.
Yeah, so I maybe felt like I wasted some of my life, but it worked out. So and then I won first place at the oral competition in the Pacific at Okinawa.
Yes.
And then I made it, so I got to go to the States. I went to Albuquerque with Carolina and some other people. But I was probably last in Albuquerque because everybody else's projects were doing AI doing surgery and stuff like that, the people in my category. They were doing theoretical math at 4th year college level, so I was a little in over my head.
I'm just imagining the difference between their project, your project, and then my project, just in that. It's great. So that's great. I'm sorry you didn't have any findings. That does happen. And I remember watching yours. I was just like, wow. Not only were the only person to do something related to economics. I had no idea what was going on.
I got a lot of hate for it. Everybody said, "Oh, not a real experiment. He didn't do a real research project." Everybody was complaining about that. So
haters just want to bring you down, then.
Yeah.
They'll do that. They'll do that to you. The other project I remember that was the sunscreen project. Do you remember that one? I don't remember who did it.
Patrick Cocoon. Yeah, he's also at tennis. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, he's that was a good project. Other than that, none of them. Michaela's yours was great. For the rest of them, nothing too memorable. We had a great time though.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
that was great. It was crazy. I met some people that week that I haven't talked to since, and we were good friends. And then that was it. And the aquarium, it was a good time.
Well, you can't forget the non-dogs.
Non-dogs. How could I forget the non-dogs? Yeah. The aquarium had a very strange menu.
Yeah.
Who eats at the aquarium? Next question. Let's go to, did you participate in JSHS your senior year of high school?
Yeah, I did do it my senior year. And I thought I did a lot better project.
Okay.
It was on Twitter. So I was looking at, obviously I was looking at the top 4 Democratic candidates for president. And then I was looking at their tweeting metrics, do certain topics get more likes than other topics? Or when they're more negative in a tweet, does that get more likes than when they're more positive? When they tweet without a picture, does that get more likes than with a picture? So it's all that kind of thing. And I also looked at, I think, 3 Democratic senators and 3 Republican senators to compare that too. But obviously, the people judging the competition thought I did a worse project because I was like, didn't even make top 7. It was a virtual competition. And the funny thing is, apparently, I forgot my acknowledgments during my PowerPoint, and if I had done my acknowledgments, I would have gotten like second. So I don't know how like a 5-second sentence of like, oh, thanks to my supervisor, dropped me down from second. But I should. I'm a sore loser.
No, you should complain. That is unbelievable. That we need justice. He did a great project. He put a lot of heart into that, guys. He did a boring project the year before. It wasn't about geese. You thought the geese were interesting? Well, he didn't do the geese. And this time he goes to Twitter to try to appeal to all those people who didn't like the economics, and he still loses. Yeah. Okay, sorry, sentence worked out. That's all that matters. Yeah, so what were your findings on that? Just like.
So it was a lot more inconclusive, but I did find that they tended to be, they did tend to be very negative. So not a lot of positive tweeting going around. And when they did feature media, like when they featured a video or a picture, then that garnered like more likes or retweets or replies than with no media. And I did find that certain candidates tweeted more about like real issues than others. Like I think Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg tweeted the most about like real issues, whereas like Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren had more like, oh, congrats to my friend, kind of thing, like not about real issues. So I did have actual findings for this one.
That's good. That's good. It is crazy how Twitter. It wasn't that long ago where you did not have your political candidates reaching out to you on Twitter, and then I remember Trump was elected. That was like the big deal. Like he's tweeting all the time. What the heck is he doing? And now it's like everyone. It just became normal so quickly. And I guess it is what it is. I don't even have Twitter, so it doesn't matter to me, I guess. So that's good. I'm sorry that project didn't go better, but I want to talk a little bit about. The other clubs you participated in. You mentioned earlier it was the mock trial and student council. Talk to me about the mock trial first. What was that?
So mock trial was basically like we would have a criminal case and then we'd be assigned to argue one side, like either the prosecution or the defense, and then we would just do the case and we'd cross-examine witnesses, direct witnesses, do an open and closing. So that was a great experience. We were originally supposed to go against Sasebo, but then they canceled. So we just went against ourselves. And it was really cool because we had the real Navy judge do a judge over our trial. So it was really cool. It was a valuable experience. And I did win.
You won? Okay, that was going to be my question.
I won
the hardware right here.
So I was very proud of myself when I won this gavel, and then we got to go to Chili's afterwards.
So that's a win-win.
I know 2 prizes for 1. So this is really cool.
That's great. I'm glad that you won that one. There's dubs for all of us. The haters can stop you that time. That's great. So next, the student council. What was your position for that?
So, I began student council kind of on the outside. I was like a corresponding secretary, which is a fancy title for doing nothing. Okay. And then the year after that, I was treasurer, which we didn't really have money, so there wasn't much for me to do.
I always wondered about that. Yeah. All the student council positions.
Running off of my very strong record with those 2 positions, I ran for president, and I did win. So that was pretty cool. And I was president this year, and there was beef within student council, but I don't want to expose any people on here in case they're watching. But yeah, I think it was a pretty successful year. I really enjoyed student council. It was fun. It was a cool way to give back to the school. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to let you know, if you do want to expose them, feel free to do that too. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's free to do however you feel, Daniel. I was also part of student council my junior year. I was our junior class president. I ran unopposed and won by a landslide. And just for a few of you who have never been in student council, especially for the Dodea schools, it doesn't matter what your position is. You will just sit there in a room, a classroom. You'll sit on desks and tables, and you will talk about nothing for an hour. And it doesn't matter if you're the treasurer. You don't mess with money at all. It doesn't matter what your name is. There's no name tag. I'm just Shannon standing in the corner. So that's pretty much what it's like. I'm sure it's somewhat similar for you, especially when you're right. We don't have money. So yeah. So you're a big debate guy, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in debate, more so politics. That's, way down the road after my JAG,
Yeah.
I want to become involved in politics. So that's definitely my number one interest.
That's great. So I figured that would be the case. So I have a few debate topics for us right here, right now. I want to let you know I didn't do any preparation because I didn't want it to be unfair. And I didn't want to give you the topics because I didn't want you to do any preparation and have it be unfair that way. So this is going to be a terrible debate because we did not prepare, but I'm going to let you choose your side, and then I'll choose another side, and then we can go from there. So these are very serious debates, by the way. I don't want you guys to think that this is like a farce. This is real. We're talking real issues.
Okay. Yeah.
Number one, what's the best pizza topping?
Okay. I'll go pepperoni.
I'll go cheese.
What?
I'll go cheese.
Cheese?
Cheese. No, you don't think cheese is a topping? Cheese is a topping. You're look. I knew I'd get this reaction. I knew it. As soon as you said pepperoni, I knew I had to go cheese. Cheese is
that
a
can't
topping.
count as a topping.
Whenever you order a pizza and you don't want anything on it, you have to say like pizza without cheese because cheese is a topping. Like cheese, you say cheese pizza just like you say pepperoni pizza.
If you get a pepperoni pizza, doesn't it automatically come with cheese?
Yes, and that's a good thing.
I already won the first debate. No, you didn't. I won the first debate already.
I was putting it in a tough situation. Cheese is the best topping. It's the most essential, at the least. If you don't have cheese on the pizza, you're just eating tomato sauce. You won the debate. Okay, next one. Go. Right, guys, he's a debate guy. He's a debate king. I was set up to lose. Okay. Are aliens living among us? What's your stance?
Oh, I'll have to go no.
I'll say yes. You start first this time.
So aliens are probably a lot more technologically advanced, right? So if they were living among us, the COVID would already have been cured and we'd already have a vaccine.
Oh, that's your stance. Okay, we just lost
forest fires and climate change wouldn't be real, and your Kool-Aid poster would still be up.
That is true. Now they see my hot dog sign. That's a sneak peek at the hot dog eating competition. It'll come later. Back to the aliens. You assume that the aliens care about us. You think that they really give a darn about us, Daniel? No, you would be absolutely wrong in this. They are so advanced. They are looking at us like ants on an anthill. They don't care really what happens to us. They're just like, they're hanging out for fun. That's how bored they are. They've already beaten every single high score of every single game we've ever made. Like, they mastered all of it. So they're living among us, and we don't even know it, because there's no way we can know it. They're all looking at, like, you ever see someone, be honest, and you're like, dude, that's an alien.
Sometimes. Well, it's either an alien or it's just it's a slightly unstable person. So
no. I mean, look at Alex Caruso on the Los Angeles Lakers. Everyone out there. Are you a big sports guy?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm a Nuggets fan, so don't talk about the Lakers too much.
Oh, okay. Caruso's an alien, and for that matter, I think Jokic is an alien as well. But
Jokic is not. Jokic is an overweight,
7-foot
Serbian legend. Okay.
Jokic had too much cheese pizza.
Jokic should probably get the pepperoni too.
He would get the pepperoni and
he needs the protein.
He does. He'll eat anything, I think. I couldn't believe they beat the Clippers. I was so close to placing a bet on the Clippers too, because that's what they do. I've actually never placed a bet before, but I was like, I'm 18. I'm going to do this. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Never bet against the Nuggets.
Come on, everyone and their mom thought the Clippers were going to win that game. There's no way. Kawhi, come on.
Yeah. Well, and then the refs rigged it for the Lakers. So, but that's a whole other.
I hear you. Oh shoot, my microphone just changed. 1 second. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still it's not recording. I'm gonna start. No, it's still recording. Okay, we're good. I'm just gonna pick back up with our final debate topic, which is this is a little more serious. Jeez, should the voting age be lowered to 16? Take a stance.
I'll say no.
No. Okay, that was only my stance, but okay, go ahead. I'll go first. Yes, of course, the voting age should be lowered to 16 years old, because look around you right now, everyone at home. Look to the closest 16-year-old you can find, and tell me that is not the most intelligent and put together individual in your household right now or in your friend group. 16-year-olds, they got it all figured out, man. Look at them on TikTok. They are businessmen and women. They are the future of the country, and they are the present of the country. And I rest my case.
I think Shannon made a pretty good case for why 16-year-olds should not vote. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm gonna let Shannon do the debating.
Come on, 16-year-olds, dude, they know what they're doing, man. They know. Yes, I think you're right. It should not be lowered. There's no way. I honestly, I feel like I'm prepared to vote. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like surreal still. Like I have to fill out a ballot. Like you guys are counting on me for these decisions. Put it in my hands, and I'm not even that worried about me. I just like see other 18-year-olds. I'm like, dude, they're giving this guy a ballot? Really? This is what we're doing?
17. So I'm not even gonna get to vote for the election.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry.
I'm looking at 18-year-olds who are like, "Oh, I'm going to vote for Harambe again." Won't that be fun? What? Can't I just use their ballot?
Oh, Harambe. Dude, I forgot about Harambe. Dick's out for Harambe, by the way. Harambe. That wraps up our debate. I think Daniel is going to take that victory. Maybe we'll have him on the show again sometime, and I'll beat him in some other debates, all very serious topics. Thank you for doing that. As for sports, you said you're a big sports guy. I just have who are your teams? Are you all Denver?
Yeah, I'm all Denver. So Broncos, Nuggets, Rockies. But I don't watch hockey, so.
I don't watch hockey either. I'm only baseball, football, basketball as well. Broncos have had like 3 different quarterbacks all trying to play quarterback at once. That's great, right? You don't want to talk about that? Well,
so how much of their salary do you think is on the IR right now, the injured reserve?
I have heard that Von Miller's on there, and that's like half the salary already. And to be fair, the guy is like so overpaid at this point.
$8 million worth of players are on the IR.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like most of their top 10 players are on the IR.
Yeah,
so it's depressing.
I'm a Philly sports guy, so I feel your pain with the whole injuries thing. Unbelievable. And we continue to re-sign these players who are ancient, and we're like, they'll stay healthy. Deshaun Jackson gets a hamstring injury if someone like sneezes too hard next to him. You wouldn't believe it. It's tough.
Now Carson Wentz is finally healthy. Now he's trash. So I don't know what happened
now. I don't know. I have a message to all the front offices in Philadelphia real quick. First of all, if you have any possession in the Eagles front office and you built that team, you deserve to be fired. It is unbelievable how you drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside ahead of DK Metcalf, and he has had like 8 career receptions over 2 seasons. It's unbelievable. I can't. And the Phillies missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
you spent $300 million in payroll. And then the Marlins, who are now in the playoffs, the Miami Marlins, God bless them, spending $30 million with all of our prospects that we traded them for JT Realmuto. Inexcusable. And the Sixers got swept. I'm not even going to start on the Sixers.
Well, they got Doc Rivers now.
They have Doc Rivers, so all of our problems are solved, obviously. They have Doc Rivers, so Simmons is going to be a knockdown 3-point shooter.
No, I bet you Simmons is going to be traded to the Warriors for Andrew Wiggins, the number 2 or 3 pick.
Andrew Wiggins will save us. Yes,
it's the number 2 or 3 pick that will save you.
The draft isn't that good. I wish, honestly.
I don't even really know any of the players this year in the draft.
Me neither. I just know LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
It's so weird seeing him in the draft. Like I feel like I've grown up with him. Like we're the same age, and he used to be like a meme, and now he's actually getting drafted. He's doing better than me. I remember watching him. Go ahead, please.
Whoever drafts him is just gonna be terrible. His rookie game, he's gonna like pull up from the half court line on Steph Curry.
Oh yeah, he's gonna point at the half court line and be like, "Yeah, watch this." I remember watching that, and I'm like, "Dude, look at this clown." I remember watching him try and bench press, and I was like, "Dude, look, he's so lame. He's so lame." And now he's like 6'7". I'm like, "I'm so sorry, sir. I couldn't imagine meeting him in real life." Yeah, that's tough. That's gonna wrap up this episode of the Shannon Show, episode number 10, 10 weeks down, and it is a great way to wrap up the first 10 episodes with Daniel Posthumus, who I will never mess up that last name. I am perfect at it 100% of the time. Thank you so much for doing this. I've had a great time doing this, talking to you, catching up with you. Hope we can stay in touch, and best of luck moving forward.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I've always wanted to be on the Joe Rogan podcast, but this is better. So now I'll say no to Joe Rogan because he's always texting me about coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is better? Oh, okay. That's great. I think I'm second place. It goes Joe Rogan and then the Shannon Show. You know, I'm humble. I realize I know my position in the podcast world.
You know, they should have the next presidential debate on here, I think.
Exactly. I could moderate that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Right here. I got Joe on my left, Donald on my right, and they just go, actually, I couldn't handle that mess. God bless Chris Wallace. Next time on the Shannon Show, I'm not sure who our next guest is going to be, but you'll figure it out. You'll see it, and thank you all for watching. Oops.